Hello and welcome to String Minded. Today I wanted to take you through the opening of a student's violin that I found on Amazon. This is not an advertisement. I purchased this violin on my own, and I did it because I always wanted to have a black violin, and I was looking for something affordable because I couldn't spend a lot of money, and I just thought I will give it a go. And I received the violin, I opened it, and I thought, wow, what a lovely instrument. So it is called Van Gogh. It comes in a box like this. And because I've already purchased 2 instruments, so I hope there'll be enough left for all the other students. But I imagine they would produce more if there was a need for it. It's good to have a sharp knife to open the box. I wanted to show you what it's like to set up this instrument, from when you receive it in a box, in a package. So yeah, just open the box. Make sure you're very careful you do not pierce the box itself. And there it is. Let's open it and see what's inside. So what we have here is 4/4 size, so it means it's a full-size violin. And when we open, it's a little bit of oh wow, inside there is a violin instruction manual, so make sure you read this. So that's what you get. It's a little kind of carton, so it protects the violin from the tailpiece. It's a little bit of a sawdust, but I'll just give it a hoover. The bow, what's in there? A little cloth for the violin, to clean the violin, so I'll do that. We have a shoulder rest, brilliant. We have a set of, that's really good actually, for the beginner, and catch life's melody. We have a set of strings. We also, oh wow, we have a spare bridge. Oh, we have also a mute. We have a rosin, and that's gold. We have tuner. Fantastic. I'll show you how to use each of those things. Right, so we have a shoulder rest. It is a budget shoulder rest. Let's have a look if that fits the violin. Perfect. So how you put the shoulder rest on, I know it's a bit too early because we still have to prepare the violin, but just to show you a little bit ahead of the game. So you have to, the legs of the shoulder rest folded like that. So you have to just open them up like so, ideally without holding the violin in your hand, but I'm a very bad teacher. Then turn your violin upside down, hold it very sturdily. Actually, I should have checked the violin if everything is okay. Seems amazing. It's got like a little sparkle. I don't know if you can see. Yes, it's got sparkle. So it's not like matte black, it's a sparkling black. Like a midnight maybe, that's how I can call the violin. So you put it on the side here, right? And on this side, you slide it down. Yeah, so it should be something like that. It should look like something like that. So when you put it here, you can just hold your violin with no hands, yeah, so it's sturdy and secure. I would not be trying it just yet because that's something you should get used to, and make sure this is really, see, like lodged onto the violin, so it gives you safe hold. Lovely. No, the bridge is not spare. The bridge is the actual bridge. There's no bridge, duh. I've just noticed. I know I am a little bit close here, but I want you to see exactly what I'm doing. To be honest, I'll be checking out what I'm doing as well. I just want to check. I do think the bridge goes, can you see the F holes? Yeah, so the bridge needs to go, we need to align with that little dent here on the F hole. So we'll do that, but I think before that happens, probably we'll have to stick on the fingerboard, which unfortunately I'll have to move the strings to the side. If you are more advanced violinist and you do not need, see, that's so cute, they're like little notches here, so the strings know exactly where they're going. You do not need this chart, but as we have it and it's there, and I am going to teach you how to play violin, I think we're going to use it, just so we're on the same page. But I think even if you do not have this particular violin, you can buy those on Amazon. I might actually... See, I don't like to recommend anything that I've not tried myself. That's the first one ever I'll be using. Oh gosh, I do not like when things are not aligned, like properly, and if it's wonky it will bother me quite a lot. Okay, let's see if I can fit that in. That is straight. Should be okay. So I think the most important thing is that it is quite tightly against the nut. Is it tightly? Okay, I think I did it. Sort of there. Yeah, so see that it's tightly against the nut, because when we're pressing your fingers, that feels straight. Then it gives you better, obviously, the exact place on the fingerboard. So we've got that done, yeah. So now I have to put those strings back into the notches. Feel free to pause this video. Although, to be honest, those parts I would like to I'm not a very chatty person, but because it's, what string it is? That's G. So make sure the G, D, A, and E go back to where they belong, and be gentle with it. Everything about the violin is like it has to be gentle force, I would call it. Yeah, so I want to do it in real time. I know it's like, oh, the videos are long, but I feel like we're doing it together, and it's not like fake that, oh, I've done it in like 5 minutes, because I didn't. And also, if I make a mistake, it's kind of reassuring that we're doing it together and you're not on your own. So as you see now, here the violin does not have the bridge. It's just without, and it's flat. So do not tighten anything yet. Do not touch the finger, the pegs. So basically, the violin is the scroll. It's just an ornament. You have the pegs for each string. You have a nut here that just supports the strings, and it's got little notches in. Then you have a fingerboard and the neck, where usually you hold your violin, and that's where most of the playing happens. You have the body of the violin, and you have the, and I forgot the word. It will come back to me. You have fine tuners. So we can tune violin using the pegs and using the fine tuners. The more advanced violinist you are, the less fine tuners you have. So the real pros have 1 or 2 max. I have 2 because I'm still used to my A string. I tune my A string with the fine tuner. I think the best ones have just E string. But I'm not claiming anything here. Still have 2 fine tuners. Yeah, it has a little mark that it passed quality control. That's QC. What's QC? Quality control, of course. And there is also in like traditional violins, there's also one more word that I forgot what it is. Furling? No. it's a like line here to protect the violin from breaking. Actually, I could make a little video about the history of violin, like how it came to that. The violin now has this shape. It's a beautiful story of passion, family, betrayal, drama, and craftsmanship. So maybe not, let me know if you're interested. The case needs hoovering because it just has sawdust in it, so unfortunately it is a budget violin, so we will have to do a little bit of hoovering, a little bit of cleaning, but oh well, we have to do that. And in the meantime, it says, when using a new violin or changing new strings, the strings usually come loose after a minute or two of tuning due to the unstable state of the bridge and strings. This is a common and normal phenomenon. At this time, it takes patience to adjust 3 to 4 times and it will improve. After 5 days of use, it will reach a relatively stable state. After that, it should be adjusted before each performance. Very good. And I agree, the strings are very fickle at the very start. I remember the worst thing that can happen to you is that you have to change your strings before your performance because one of them snapped. So strings are very important, and the more advanced you are, the more fancy strings you use, and it's all about preference, and it's about the sound you want to achieve. Again, I have one, just my favourite make of strings that I use on my acoustic violin, sometimes on my electric, but on the electric it doesn't really matter because the sound is made not by the instrument per se, it's made by the sound. It's another story entirely. So there we go. Now we have to go into the most tricky part of it, is the bridge, and for that I will have to grab a pencil. So I have a pencil, I have my bridge, and I'm sure there will be someone that will explain better than I, because apart from the fact that it's something to do with the longevity of the strings, I don't really know why we're doing this. It's one of the things like you just do it because people taught you to do that and you don't really know why, and then you should really inquire and ask, and I'm supposed to be your teacher, but please forgive me, I'm not perfect. Anyway, all I know is we have to do that, and some even, I think when I visited a luthier recently with my violin, he also suggested putting soap on, but I don't want, the only thing I know is to put graphite here. Graphite or graphite, please correct me. So here, can you see those little notches? There. Alright, just make sure you just basically put the pencil. So have a sharp pencil and put the graphite on it. And it should be fine. Then, that is the tricky part, isn't it? Whew. We have the bridge, and the bridge, as you can see, it's a little bit slanted. So the toe part of the bridge that's where your G strings sit, and where the lower part of the bridge, that's where your E string sits. So all of that is probably in your manual. Let's actually double check. I'm pretty certain that's the case, but I do not want to give you false information. So the lower side of the bridge supports the first string E, and the higher side supports the fourth string G. Make sure the bridge is placed properly, then set the bridge in the bridge seat. Is there a seat? Interesting. The side of the bridge with the logo should face the tailpiece. Well, there is no logo. Interesting. Ensure that the bridge stands vertically. If it leans to one side, place the violin on a stable surface. Unwind the strings slightly and use both hands to adjust. Make sure that each string passes over the corresponding slot in the bridge. We have to place your violin on a stable surface and try to put your bridge underneath, but you can see that it just does not work, yeah, because the strings are too tight. Do not try to force it in, just let it go, and then undo the pegs a little bit, so turning this way, so towards yourself, turn a little bit, just like literally 1/2 centimeter, just to release the strings a bit. And again, we try, see, there's a little bit more space now. Should be okay, but you have to see what would work for you best. I will be able just to push it in. Perfect. So now, as I said, my strings are still quite loose. They are quite loose, yeah, so they should not be tight, but tight enough just so I can move the bridge around and make sure it's aligned to those little 2 notches, see? So there it is. It's aligned, and I have to make sure the strings go into proper the places on the bridge. Tailpiece. That's the button. Chin rest. Tailpiece. It is a tailpiece. I knew it will come back to me. So now that our bridge is in place, we have to make sure that the bridge is not tilted. Can you see? This one is quite like that. It has to be 90 degrees. So the way I do it is, again, gently place it on your lap and just gently move it towards yourself. Again, the strings are still quite loose. And also, you have to make sure, whilst placing the bridge, I think it's just naturally slightly tilted. Yeah. Because the other thing I've not seen before is this part of the bridge. Oh, I'm trying for it to get into focus. So if you can see the legs of the bridge, they have to be sitting on the body of the violin. Maybe just try, you know, every time you try to find the right place for your bridge. I didn't have that much problem with the previous violins. It should be fine. Lucky? Maybe I'll try to tighten the strings now. And it should. So initially, make sure you align it with the F-holes and 90 degrees. And then I urge you, do everything very gently. So now we have to tighten the pegs. Let's start with D string, because it's a it's not as thin as A and E, and maybe it's a good one to try for the first time. We do it by, I'll put it the other way, so kind of you can see if you are facing the violin, right? You're holding the violin and you are turning it from yourself. You're turning it from yourself that way, not that way, that way. And just do it a little bit by bit is the best. Okay, let's try A. So when you are turning, very gently, you push the peg and turn, but very gently. Like I leave it up to your common sense, because I cannot show you everything. But it has to kind of stay within. So if the pegs are loose, try to push them in and turn, like pushing in and turning. So we have, interesting. So our G string, now we can see how G string is completely loose and E string is completely loose comparing to our A and D. So we do the same with D string, with G string. Right, so tighten them a little bit, and E string, I would say the most difficult one, the most frightening one, because it's so thin, and if it snaps, it's just like, you just don't want to experience it. So we tighten in E string, but not too much, just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of tightness. We've got interesting sound coming out. So I will then, once I've tightened the strings a little bit, I'll look again and see what happened to my bridge. It went like that. So again, all I have to do, make sure that they're aligned with the F holes and that it is relatively straight. I think that bridge is a little bit wonky. Don't like the shape of it, don't like the legs. But again, it is a budget violin. It should be fine. If not, it can always be taken to a luthier and adjusted. Okay. It is slightly infuriating because I know what I need to do, like I know what I'm looking for. If you are a beginner violinist, it can be very difficult, but again, just the basics. And once your strings are tightened, then you can very gently again try to hold the bridge straight, making sure the strings are in the notches. Try to adjust it and make sure as much as you can that the legs of the bridge are touching the body of the violin. It could have been attached better, but we just have to work with what we've got. And then once you've done that, you can leave it for a little bit, just a little bit. And then also you can, in the meantime, you can use your cloth to clean the violin of the fingerprints and try to make it, they provide a lovely one, try to make it your habit, that after handling your violin, you clean it, you make sure you're getting rid of the fingerprints, because that's, even though it's a cheap violin and the lacquer, it's not a work of art, we want to look after it and we want to get that habit of looking after our instruments and to making sure that they look gorgeous and just cared for. So we make sure we clean the fingerprints, we make sure we clean off any rosin, and especially when we start using the bow, rosin will be everywhere, and because this violin is black, it will be really visible. You can see a little bit of scratches on it, but yeah, well done. I just moved the bridge. And that is it from setting up this instrument. We have the violin, we have the bow, that I showed you how to do it, and the next video, because I feel it's a really long video as it is, so just make sure, can you hear it's just so out of tune, but the most important thing is the violin just came out of the factory. It's not even been handled by anyone. It's not been created, it's not been hewed out of a beautiful piece of wood. Although maybe, I don't know. But it did not come from a luthier's hands. So this instrument is a little bit, it's a little bit of like a wild creature. It needs to be loved, it needs to be handled. I look at violins as living little things that come to life when we come into contact with them. So as it's for now, wherever you are, I know you are very eager to start playing. That's a bit chipped. To start playing, but leave your violin to adjust, to adapt to the temperature. For the strings have just been tightened. They are like, what's going on? We don't know what's going on, what's going to happen. So it's all exciting for each party, but do not be too excited, because the strings we will have to, you can tighten a little bit, but again, not too much. Just every time you do it, it's like a little notch. It's a little bit. Not too much. Maybe I'm over cautious, maybe I'm over careful, but I prefer to be that way than to lead you into bosh, bish, bash, bosh, unpack your violin in 3 minutes and then make lots of mistakes, I don't know, break something, snap the strings, and it just makes it really unpleasant. So for me it's a little bit of a ritual. And now your violin has been sort of set up. I will record a separate video on how to tune it, and I'll post it very, very quickly after that one, just so you can get on with it and start playing, or at least get a feel about your violin. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions at this stage, please do leave a comment below, so I can respond and I can help you. And I really do want to do it because, as I said, if you can, go to a luthier, go to a professional violinist if you have one in your area, someone who can help you set it up. But if you are left on your own and you want to experiment, if you want to try, please be very careful and be very gentle, because violins are fragile, and even like this little black beauty that did not come out of an artist's hand, they still have to be treated with respect. And as I said, if you can go to a beautiful violin shop and choose a violin and try it and give it a go, and have someone with you who can advise you and be there for you, or even the person, you know, a specialist in the shop, a luthier. They are wonderful, they're very passionate about their work. They probably hate those ready, made in China violins, but I believe that before you commit to something, you have to give it a go, you have to try it. So it's the same like buying expensive equipment for sport. You have to just give it a go, and unfortunately you can't you know, try a violin without having a violin. But I think this is a lovely piece of equipment. It gives you everything, and gives you a good head start for the basic needs. I mean, I played some difficult pieces on this violin, and once you give it time to warm up, to adapt, to adjust, for the wood to start working, for everything to just settle into place, they produce a lovely sound, lovely warm sound. And I was very, very, very much surprised on what it can produce, because I thought they would just fall apart. I mean, I've not played on them as much as I ever played on my like acoustic professional violin, but I think for a beginner, for someone who wants to try, this violin is really good. And they have them in black, white and pink, but it shouldn't matter. You just want an instrument. There's also another company that I've tried the violin from. It's called E-Star. And another one they make more of a student, like advanced violins, it's Stentor. So those are three that I've tried that I can recommend, and all of them are available, I think, on Amazon. I will leave links in the description for the violins I think that are very good, including this one. And you can make a decision for yourself. But as I said, the best way to do it is go to a luthier's or a violin shop, and someone will help you there. But if you come with me this far, then I invite you to my next video where I will show you how to tune it and how to prepare it for playing. Lovely to see you here. Ask me any questions you have, and see you in the next video.